There we go. This is Kathy L. Murphy, the Pulpwood Queen, and I am reporting in from Holly Lake Ranch, Texas, where I live in the East Texas Piney Woods. So I'm very excited to be here. I've already got Linda Rosen on with me, and she is an author, and we're going to be having a really big treat today because this is the first time I've ever really got to see live the winery. So the three sisters who are the owners of Breathless Wines are going to, I think they're all going to be there, but Sharon is going to be the speaker for, Sharon Cohn is going to be the speaker for the sisters. And she told me that she'd jump in about, it will be their time about 3:15. So we'll just chat until we get everybody on board. I'm looking to see, okay, it's just us right now, Linda. So tell us while we're waiting, tell us about the book that you've written.
Okay, this is my second novel that's coming out in March called Sisters of the Vine, and it's set in the Hudson River Valley on a winery.
That's great. Well, you know, wineries are all across the United States anymore, and I can't tell you how many wineries they have in Texas, but I am thrilled to be partnered with Breathless Wines because they are the winery of the year.
Oh, are they really?
Yes. And they just got a fabulous feature in Forbes magazine. And we've been partnering with them since they first started. And we just kind of started with this soft launch. And then they came and kicked it off at my annual book club convention in Texas a couple of years ago. And we've just been going like gangbusters ever since. So since I've taken over as administrator and setting up the guest house, I think we've doubled our attendance. And what's really exciting is tomorrow, another one of our authors, Rebecca Rosenblum, who is involved with Breathless Wines, who does our covers on the blog page. She's going to be joining us, but we're not going to be able to do the live Zoom because right now with everything going out in California, their bandwidth isn't strong enough. So she's just going to film one, and then she's going to download it onto the Breathless Wines page. So during this time of the social distancing pandemic, we've just kind of had to all figure this out as we go. Right. I'm frantically every night getting on YouTube and trying to figure out how to do this new technology. But I found that Zoom has the best, I guess what I want to say, the best internet, voice, video. There's still a few little things, but when I think about every school in the country is now using Zoom for their online classroom, online teaching, and how many book clubs. In Dallas alone, I think there's close to 4,000 book clubs.
4,000?
And I have started there with individual people, at least 45 chapters of the Pulpwood Queens.
Well, I've challenged myself. My first book came out in March, The Disharmony of Silence, and I actually challenged myself to meet with 100 book clubs. Thankfully, I didn't give myself a deadline. I've met with 2 so far. I have a third one set up, but I am trying to get more.
Well, you just need to talk to me, Linda, because we have 800 chapters nationwide, and we're all over the world now. Because as authors and Pulpwood Queens move out of the country, and for years I've been involved with Rotary International, and I would have teachers come and tour them, and they go, I want to start a Pulpwood Queen chapter. So I've started them in Thailand, in Scotland, in Mexico, New Zealand, Australia, England, almost all the European countries, Canada, and we're going global. So what we're doing this year, I read all the books that are sent, and I have to pick 12 books a year. Can you imagine?
Oh, I do something similar with Women's National Book Association.
Are you a part of that?
Yes, I'm the National Recording Secretary, and I'm an initial reader for our Great Group Reads Committee. Do you know of that?
Yes, because you know how I know about the National Women's Book Association? I'm a 2-time winner of the Pinnell Award
Are you?
Yes, I am.
Congratulations.
Well, this was years ago when I was the
You had a bookstore.
yeah, I was at an independent bookstore. They had a store in Shreveport, Louisiana, and Longview, Texas, which the bookstores have since closed. But back in the day, I was the children's event bookstore manager and buyer, and I won twice.
That's phenomenal to win twice. That's fabulous.
Well,
Wonderful.
and I was on the Mid-South Children's Board, so I know all about what you're involved with. It is the most, it changed my life because, you know, when I've always been a big supporter of children. I've worked with Girl Scouts and youth groups and story times, and I go all over the country doing that. And so I decided that I would enter this because my friend in Dallas, I don't know if you remember, excuse me, Jennifer Anglin, but she owned a bookstore in Dallas on Mockingbird Lane. And she was the president of the Mid-South, and she said, you need to enter the Pinnell Award. And I didn't even know what it was. Then when I found out it was named after the Chicago bookseller and it was supported by the Women's Book Council, I just did it. And I, did the big album, sent it off. And when they called me, I couldn't believe it. And then the worst part about it was I'm an introvert.
Oh.
Now, this was years ago when I was in my 30s, and I'm now 64, okay? So they said, you're going to come to Miami, because that's where the big book club
that's where it was at that time, okay.
And you're going to have to give a speech to the children's bookseller dinner. And I was like, oh, wait a minute, I flunked speech in high school, okay?
Look at you now.
I'm telling you, when you're passionate about something, but I remember I shook so hard that my knee kept hitting the podium, and I cannot remember the name of the president at the time, but she reached over and she just held my knee still while I did this. Well, I did this speech because I had to memorize it, which I'm terrible about memorizing. I'm more of a speaker off.
It's just let it go, right?
So, but I am thrilled to meet you because I cannot tell you. I look every year to see who wins that, and then the next time I won in Chicago. So I have been given the certificates, and I ought to run and get I have one of them hanging in my room. And but it was such a thrill for me because I was brand new at children's book selling, and it was really, honestly, the biggest thrill of my life. And then what was really funny about it is when I got home, they go, why do you think I started crying during the speech? It's so embarrassing now. And I was so emotional, and I just got mobbed by all these children's books. They go, we've never seen anybody so passionate about children's books. And I said, I was just so scared. And they go, shh, don't. Well, I got home and I found out I was pregnant with my daughter, who's now 26.
Yeah. Okay.
And so I go, well, that's, the excuse.
Yeah.
But the next time I did much better. But I'm going to tell you, that is a wonderful organization. They do great things. And,
we've now, we have a network, or it's called National Membership. And it's been really terrific now because of everything being virtual. We have, all the chapters across the states now doing everything virtually, and National's doing virtual. But what I wanted to say with you, with your book clubs, we have this thing called the Great Group Reads List. Every year, it's the past 12 years, we get over 200 submissions by publishers. And from February till August, we're reading all the submissions, and we narrow it down to 20 novels and memoirs out of over 200 to make this coveted list every year. And those are the books specifically for book clubs. We choose novels and memoirs.
Can I nominate we always have book of the year,
see that the submissions all come from the publishers.
Yeah, see,
But you should get on the website. Just Google Great Group Reads or Women's National Book Association.
I will, but I'm also the brand new acquisitions director for Lucid House Publishing. So good to know.
Okay, well, What is it? Lucid House?
Lucid House. It's brand new. It's a writer-centric, bespoke publishing house out of Atlanta, Georgia. And Connor Garrett and his mother, Echo Garrett, and father, Kevin Garrett, and I have all partnered to help authors. It's so hard to get published these days.
Yeah.
And I know so many tremendous authors, and authors that may have been published before, but they can't get their third book published or whatever. But we're going very global and very diverse. And our very first book, Spellbound Under the Spanish Moss, we got it out right before COVID. And it went #1 on Amazon, and we sold the film rights, optioned it to Disney for animation, and it's green lighted.
Wow, already.
Very first book. And of course, you know, any kind of book that's crossover is dear to my heart because I have this whole background in children's book selling. But we have a lot of books in the queue that we've had to hold off now. We're waiting until 2021 to launch all the ones that we've got coming up, because I had a book come out this year, and it was the Pulpwood Queens Celebrate 20 Years, and it's an anthology of all the stories of my authors, their experience of being in the book club. They're also diverse. There's stories, there's essays, there's poems. Nearly 70 70 authors wrote for this thing, and it just kind of died on the vine. We kicked it off at Murdered by the Book down in Houston with 6 of my authors, and I was going to go out all over the country, and wherever the authors in that part of the country would come in and join me. But Jonathan Hote of the Pat Conroy Center wrote the afterword. It's fabulous. And then Robert Hicks of Nashville wrote the foreword, and another artist did the cover. And Susan Cushman, who did Friends of the Library, she's done a lot of anthologies. She edited the book, and she's a Pulpwood Queen book. But Paula McLean, Lisa Wingate, Jamie Ford, and Patty Henry all blurbed the book. And I just thought, this is a surefire winner. And no, it's so hard. You know, it's so hard because there's so many books coming out. But, you know, I never give up. And I will definitely check that out. We'll have to exchange emails.
Yes, I would. Just tell me yours real fast.
thepulpwoodqueen@gmail.com.
I will email you, thepulpwoodqueen@gmail, and I will give you all my stuff, and I would love to be really in touch.
Okay, we'll talk afterwards. I'm so glad you came on early.
How long is this program going to be?
I'm going to be over within an hour. So we're going to be done. Sharon's coming on for a very short period of time, and we partnered with them. What they do is they take their Breathless wines, and I mean, they're fabulous, fabulous. I used to work for Workman Publishing, and I went to their Windows in the World wine course every year when I was a book publisher's rep. And let me tell you, it's won all these awards, and then they got Winery of the Year. But we take our books of the month and they gift box them, and they make the perfect book club book. And you can also order the wine by the case, and we create recipes, and we started this Breathless Bubbles and Book blog. And each week, the first week is the book of the month author hosts it, and we share, you know, the gift package. And then I do the bonus books, because we have bonus books, and they create recipes. Like right now, the one they've got up is for apple cider. It's like an apple cider cocktail, and it's made with one of their wines and apple cider with a garnish of apple. And they do beautiful pictures, and it's just, you know, it's something that my book club has done for a long time. Is we either drink coffee or we drink wine.
Oh, come on, it's wine.
We're trying to knock ourselves out or keep awake, one of the two.
This is phenomenal, because, I mean, my whole book is about all-woman winery.
So nice to meet you, Linda. Well, they're going to love you too. But Sharon is supposed to pop in anytime. I keep watching to see if she's jumping in. But what we do is, after this is over, what's really great about this, you're being recorded. And this
Oh,
is
I
going
am.
to go on, yeah, you're going to be recorded. It's going on my Kathy L. Murphy channel on YouTube. So it's a one-stop shop for all my author interviews, because I also run the Pulpwood Queen Film Club, where we take our books that are going to film. I interview authors, actors, actresses, directors. I just did a double feature with Catherine Michonne's got a new movie coming out called Cook Off with Melissa McCarthy, and her husband is Bruce Cameron, who did It's a Dog's Purpose. So we had a double feature that night. And but I've got this Saturday night, I've got a young man by the name of Advait Gugay. He is a writer, singer, songwriter. He does voices for Audible. He's an actor, and he just got a really great role in this new, you download it on your phone. It's called The Chosen. And it's a Dallas filmmaker started this crowdsourcing thing on an app, and it's the life of Jesus, and they totally fund it by doing it's very well done, because being involved in churches most of my life, for and I'm a big studier of world religions, I just think there's nobody that's not going to love this story. But he plays Joshua in it, and he's very nice looking. He happens to be the son of one of my college professors who is from India. He's American, he's all American, but he lives in Dallas, and I'm so excited to help people learn who he is. And then I'm also working with him he's writing a series of books, and it's the most unique situation, because his mother is writing a book too, and he's writing a book, totally different stories, but amazing stories. And I think it's really important that a lot of people know that, not all Americans are like me that came from the Midwest. I'm from Eureka, Kansas, a little town that didn't even have a bookstore. I mean, I was the book nerd that, lived at the Carnegie Library, the Eureka Carnegie Library. And it's so funny, because me and my best friend, Connie Doden, who was in my class, she's now the head librarian for the hometown library. And I run the Pulpwood Queens, which is the largest meeting and discussing book club now in the world. Oprah has a book club, but we actually all meet. We have leaders, like Charlene is my leader in Beaufort, South Carolina. And they've been meeting at the Pat Conroy Center, because I'm partnering a lot with them, because I'm a big Pat Conroy fan.
Me too.
I know the whole family. Cassandra's in it, his wife, his sister Catherine's in it. Tim, when he's in, he comes. I know his daughter Melissa's a dear, dear friend. And regardless if they wrote any books, these are just the most wonderful people in the world to know. So, but I have big chapters everywhere, and I have tons. Now, where are you located, Linda?
I'm what you call a snowbird. I'm in New Jersey in the warm months, and in South Florida.
I've got 2 chapters in New Jersey. I've got members in Rumson, right on the coast. Yes, and that's Laura Davis Huber is the author of The Velveteen Daughter, the story of...
I know the book. It made the Great Group Reads list.
Yes, and she is a member, as well as a former airline stewardess who lives there. Deb has like 4 names, but her last name is Deb Holiday, and it's Grandinelli or something. But I always just know her as Queen Deb. And then I've got a group of girls who wrote novel women, and they're all in a book club, and they wrote this book about being in a book club, and they have a chapter in New Jersey. And in fact, I'm going to be doing a live interview with them on October 28th. I'll post the link. You should join us. And
where is that one in New Jersey?
Well, they're all over, but they really, when that book came out, they were on CNN and everything. It was really exciting. And then we connected. What happens is when people are in a book club and then they hear about my book club, we share each other. Like I have all these bloggers around the country. You post my stuff, I'll post your stuff. And we're just trying to keep everybody going right now because it's a nightmare. My poor bookstores, I shared an event for the Strand today. And
oh, the Strand is hurting.
Yeah, and Left Bank Books and Powell Books, and they're all really struggling. So I put all my books for this year up on bookshop.org so that when people order my 2020 books, it benefits independent bookstores everywhere.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
I do that. And I know a lot of people are going to go to the other online booksellers, and that's fine. I just want people reading and buying books everywhere. But yeah, support your locals because
I was in one today.
Oh,
but do you have any chapters in South Florida? Because I spent half of the year there also.
Yes, I have. I have in Eustis. I'm not sure where Eustis, Florida is, but I have members in Tampa and Miami and Orlando. And actually that whole Gulf Coast area of Panama City, that's a lot of pulpit queens. I used to go there and speak to the libraries all along. It was a wonderful gig. I mean, getting to go to Seaside and Destin and Panama City. But I drove to New Jersey a couple of years ago because, and I did. It was the craziest thing. I said, I'm driving to New Jersey. I'm also a painter. I'm an artist. I'm driving to New Jersey to deliver a really large painting. It was like 4 by 5 feet. And to ship it, it was going to cost me over $500. So I said, that'd pay for my gas. I'll just bring it to you, Laurel. And she goes, wow, really? And I said, yeah. And it was the best trip of my life because what I did is said, I'm going to this place, Rumson, New Jersey. I would like to visit as many Pulpwood Queen chapters up and back and artists and visit galleries. So I went Philadelphia, I went to Baltimore, I went, Nashville, I just went everywhere. And I had these pop-up book and art. And I also do fashions. I also take my art and put them on kimonos and scarves and different things. So I came back and I had money in my pocket. And that didn't even count selling the painting. But it's hanging in her dining room there in Rumson, New Jersey.
Great.
So, and it's, we did a video. I wonder if the video is up on I'll have to put that video up on my, channel because I was in tears because I was just out of college. I went back at 59. I started out in college at K-State, 7 universities, 43 years later. I graduated from the University of Texas with a BFA in fine arts and a minor in art history. And it was hard because I had gone through a divorce of 25 years and basically left with my car and the clothes on my back. And then because I was forced to sell my house and my shop, I had a independent hair salon bookstore. It was really
that's kind of cool.
It was very cool. That's what got us on the Oprah Oxygen Network and the Oprah Winfrey Show and Good Morning America. We kicked off their Read This Book Club. And I even sold my film rights to my first book to DreamWorks. So, but that's another whole story. But I'm keep looking. Come on, Sharon, jump on. I don't want to miss this.
But are we the only ones? I mean, where's everybody?
We're the only ones, but it's okay because what happens when you don't have your book in front of you or your books, do you? Go get them. Go get them, Linda.
This is my book that's out now.
Oh,
it came out in
Harmony
March.
of Silence. Okay.
And if you're a painter, there's a secret in here that it's a dual timeline, and my character notices a cameo brooch on a portrait hanging over the fireplace in her mom's living room. She has to sell her mother's house, and she realizes that the cameo, this the same as the cameo in her mother's jewelry box. And when she does some research, Googles it, and all, she can't find one that looks like it. So she knows it's unique. And she goes and finds the artist, and she's going to bring her the painting. Now, she's in New York, the artist is in California, and she's going to bring her the painting. And then it's all what happens when she discovers why the cameo is the same. And Carolyn, the protagonist, is desperate for family. And when she discovers this 85-year-old secret about the cameo, she could reveal it and gain everything she wants.
Oh, I can't wait to read this.
Or it could ruin others' lives.
You know Allison Richmond? She's one of our authors. And
no, I don't.
Gosh, the name is escaping me. I've read all of her books, but her mother is a abstract expressionist artist. And all of her books deal with art, but she told the story, I don't know if you heard years ago, but there was a newspaper article about this Paris apartment was owned by this same woman for years, and she fled during the Holocaust, but she paid to keep it up for decades and decades. And finally she died. So then when they went in it, it was exactly, everything was in it, just the way she left it. And there was a painting over the fireplace of a woman. So, you know, those stories, I love those kind of stories. Oh, that's great. Well, that's pretty exciting. Now, what was your first book?
That's my first book.
Oh, that's your
my
first
debut.
book.
That came out in March, a week before we had to go to lockdown. So I did get a fabulous launch party at Murder on the Beach bookstore in Delray Beach, Florida. And then lockdown.
I forgot about Mitchell. Mitchell's.
Yeah, he's at Books. He's in Books.
In fact, Mitchell, I forgot about him. He's a wonderful person and friend. He actually brought me into the Miami Book Festival twice, and then he had a bon voyage party for me when I took my Pulpwood Queens on a cruise out of Miami with our authors.
Oh, wow.
It was so much fun. And his bookstore.
Yeah, I have plans to get down there. I've not been there yet, but I'm going back to Florida in a few weeks, and my plan is to get down and meet him. And
because it has a restaurant, it has a bar, it has this open courtyard. It has one whole room that is floor to ceiling face out of coffee table art books. Oh, I was like, oh, if I ever had any money, it would have been bad.
That's what you want.
But anyway, he has a fabulous bookstore, and let him know you're coming. He's a super nice guy.
Yeah, I am. I'm going to get in touch with him before I come and go down there, and I do want to meet him.
And after we were at his place, he goes, "Where are you going for dinner?" And I go, "Oh gosh, we hadn't even thought about it." He goes, "Let me make a call." And he called and he said, "I want you to go down to my friend's restaurant, and they're holding a banquet table for all you girls." And I'm telling you, it was fabulous. And we walked in, we were like royalty, because we got right in and they were curtained off booths. He's just, I have to say that independent bookstore owners have been very good to me and through the years. And I really cannot say enough about that one. That's a great one. There's so many I haven't been to. I haven't been to this Murder on the Beach, and it's in, where is it at? It's in
Delray Beach, Florida. She's terrific. It's a great, when you walk in, you can just smell the books, It's mostly mystery and thriller and that, that genre. Okay. But she carries my book and she carries others. She's wonderful with her local authors, and she's just fabulous.
McKenna Jordan owns Murder by the Book down in Houston, and it is they sell murder mysteries, suspense books, and everything from John Grisham to and when my first book came out, she goes, "We want you down." And I go, "Well, my book is about my book club." She goes, "Kathy, we know you, come on down." I had a woman start a chapter that came to that event. I had, I think, about 60 people there. That is unheard of for a first-time first book author. And they have been providing the books. They drive up from Houston and do my book club conventions for me. And I can't say, you know, I try to get on there as much as I can to watch. They're doing live, you know, interviews with all their mystery authors right now. And it's a fabulous bookstore. But there's 3 bookstores in Houston that are just doing great. Blue Willow, let's see, Murder by the Book, and oh gosh, what the other one's just right across the street. They're all doing great, but that's a college town, and Houston is so big, you know.
Yeah.
But I know the Strand has been struggling because of the rents, and
it's so sad. It's such a fabulous, I just got an email today about it. It's such a fabulous bookstore. WMBA we used to have a lot of our programs. Every October for National Reading Group Month, we had programs there. And it's just one of my favorite bookstores.
Well, when I took my Pulpit Queens on a literary tour of New York City, the Strand sponsored me and my book club members to go as power readers to Book Expo. And that was pretty cool. Then they let one of my authors, who also is a documentary filmmaker, give us a tour of the Strand. I didn't think we were ever going to get out of there.
Oh, did you? The rare book room?
The rare book room. And there were some Bimmelman books in there, all signed.
Yeah.
You know, the Madelines and some other ones I hadn't even heard of. And my daughters, and I took both my daughters because one had just graduated from college and one had graduated from high school. And, you know, we're bookies. I mean, I talk to them just about every day. And my grandson my daughter, I said, there's a new book by Robert McFarlane that just came out that did The Lost Words. Do you know of this book that was published in England? It's a big picture book and it's beautifully illustrated. And it's a story about how the dictionaries are taking out nature words to make room for tech terms, because so it has all the words they're taking out, like kingfisher and dandelion. I go, no. I mean,
why are they taking those words out?
You can't take the words out. And so I've shared that book I made it a bonus book club selection. Now they've got a book coming out called The Lost Spells, and it's further. It's a smaller gift book, but it's all about nature and how we need to keep our children involved in being outside. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to turn this. I am an artist, and I don't know if you can see up here, but can you see that, that collage?
Yeah,
That's my art pieces. And then I have them all over my house, but my studio, I live out in the woods in East Texas, and my studio is just down the path from me. And I work, when I'm not doing all this, I'm painting and working on my collages. I mostly do alcohol, ink, and acrylic painting and mixed media pieces with also collages. And I have them hanging too, all over my.
How do you have time to do that and to write? And
I don't really sleep very much. I don't. I was up at 2:30 this morning, wide awake, because I had so much to do today. I have, you know, these blogs to get out. I had this to get ready for, and I'm just keep checking. And Sharon, I'm
not here.
Well, and you know, you never know. She said they're having so much trouble during COVID with bandwidth and stuff. So there could be a possibility. You just got a real bonus here.
I'm so excited.
Everybody, I hope authors are watching this.
I have heard about you, and I've heard about Pulpwood from Barbara Probst, who's a debut author along with me.
Yes,
and then another friend of mine, Gabby Coatsworth, told me about this tonight. And she said, with your book and the wine, and you got to get on. And
absolutely. And you know, you can order this and have it delivered right to your house. And it's such you know, it's such a great wine. I'm not a real big drinker, but I like to mix this with, you know, make spritzers and things because
Well, I'm a wine drinker.
I'm a coffee drinker. But, you know, if they could come out with a liquor that I could pour in my coffee, I probably
Yeah, see, I've been trying. I spoke to a winery in the Hudson River Valley area, the Hudson region, about when my book comes out and pairing a wine with it. We really didn't get very far, though. I can do a book talk and a party.
Well, I imagine if you got the book to me,
Yeah,
and we probably would be able to make
I would love to do something with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, years ago, I did this big cruise. We went to the Bahamas, and then I decided that I wanted to go to Hay on Wales, where they have all those bookstores. And so me and an author who is a chocolate expert,
Oh,
she put
I'm an
together,
expert in eating it.
yeah, it's actually good for you. If you get the really
yeah.
good chocolate, dark chocolates, it's actually
Dark chocolate and red wine together. There's like,
So we put together a tour, we were going to take the QE2, which has the largest floating library, and we were going to go to England, get off that, and take a bus to Hay on Wales, and we were going to spend 3 days there perusing and we were staying at the Baskerville Hotel, which is named after Hounds of the Baskerville. It was going to be great. And you know, that package with flight back then was $2,500, and we couldn't get anybody to sign up.
Oh, wow.
And I'm going, are you kidding me? That's a deal, because I now have a dear, dear friend named Stephanie Chance, who's an author who takes Americans to Europe. And she lives 30 minutes from me. I've been on her trips. Now I'm spoiled. I don't want to go any other way. But it costs more than $2,500 now.
Yeah.
But it's 2 weeks, and it's all inclusive. The plane tickets, everything. And so you basically, you know, once you get your luggage on the plane, that's all you have to worry about other than shopping. So we just did a blog. You'll have to watch her blog on my YouTube channel, Stephanie Chance, and because she's got a big art event coming up. She sells European finds in the store in Gladewater, Texas. And I mean,
what is your YouTube channel?
It's Kathy L. Murphy.
Oh, okay.
Kathy L. Murphy, and I'll be sharing this on. We need to become friends on Facebook too. So
yes.
Kathy. So Linda Rosen.
Yeah, I'm actually Linda Rosen, author, on Facebook.
Okay. Well, I'll do that when I get off of it. And I'm worried about Sharon getting on board. We're doing an event tonight with live music, and she said I'm going to jump on board at. She's not going to make it, I don't think.
No, it's a quarter to 7 here.
I'm going to go to exactly 7. Then I'm going to call it off, and we'll just have to reschedule. But
well, I'm so glad I got to meet you.
Well, I am too, because, but you know, every day, because of this book club, I meet the coolest people. You know,
well, you know, I heard book club, and I've been in I started a book club when my son was in 2nd grade, and he's now 42. Okay. So, and I'm still in the same book
You had
club.
him what, when you were in high school or what?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And it's the same book club, you know, changing of people, but you're talking book club. That's like not my 10 women that meet on Sunday night.
This is not your mama's book club. And
yeah.
if it isn't, if you go to my website, thepulpitqueens.com, look at book club selections, because it tells you the criteria I look for books. It's got to be well written. It's got to be a story I haven't heard before. It's the thing I look for mostly is books that entertain, enlighten, and educate and improve our lives. But we read a lot of really crazy. We just read for this month, was our book of the month was Grady Hendrix's The Southern Book Club's Guide to Vampire Hunting. Craziest book. Jonathan Hote gave me a copy of the book that the author had autographed to me when I was down in Beaufort for the Pat Conroy Book Club Festival. and he said, he wants you to read this book. And I go, whoa, vampire hunting book club. I have never read anything. If they don't make that into a movie, it's the craziest thing you've ever seen, because it starts out, it's like every book club you've ever known, you know?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden this van shows up in the neighborhood in front of an elderly woman's home, and it's the nephew, but it doesn't have any windows, you know, and this guy's mysterious. And so they, as a book club, they all start becoming, you know, not spies, but they just start, they're going to the door to see if she needs, you know, they just want to know what's going on, you know, and it goes places you would not even believe. So he sold the film rights. Grady is a trip. He lives in New York City, and he is going to be coming on my Breathless Bubbles and Books really soon. No, he just was on my Breathless Bubbles and Books because he's got a really great sense of humor.
And what Breathless Bubbles and Books is?
It's my blog site.
That's your blog. Okay.
That's my blog of the wine with the books. I have like, I don't know, 10 pages on Facebook, and I have Twitter, and
I've heard of this Breathless Bubbles. I might even be in that group on Facebook, but there's so many groups that I'm in that I have to hone in on the ones that I really want to be involved with.
I can tell you that if you jump on board ours, you'll be connected to pretty much all the other ones, because we all share, like, I don't know if you know about Sue's Reading Neighborhood. She's a Texan blogger. She's down in San Antonio. She's fantastic. And then I've got Eileen Sanchez, is an author. She's got a blog called Prose and Pandemic. Fantastic. I've got, oh gosh, let me think. I've got like 7, and they're all coming to in 2022, when we reconvene for our convention. We're going to do kind of a Zoomathon this year, where people can, if you're a member, you're going to be able to come on and listen to all the authors. But when we reconvene, I'm bringing in all these bloggers to run panels, because, you know, we're the only book club in the country that's doing a convention.
Yeah.
And I've been going, this will be 21 years. I think, well, why didn't I'm really surprised that Oprah didn't start a book club convention. Can you imagine how huge that would be?
That would be absolutely enormous. And I don't know.
Mine is
that would
very
be too much.
And I make all my authors participate in everything we do. And we have crazy costume contests. We have an author dinner, where I make the authors wait the tables. And it's usually with a theme. So last year we felt like our guy members weren't getting, you know, too much. They kind of get overwhelmed with all the crowns and pink and everything that we wear. So we had all the authors come as lumberjacks. It was the funniest thing you've ever seen. Some of them wore fake beards, and and plaid, you know, and all this stuff. We had so much fun. And I remember one year, Mary Kay Andrews, who's a Southern author, came, and she goes, it was the first year, Pat Conroy is the one that we started the dinner with. And Pat's good friend cooked the dinner, Janice Owens, who wrote The Cracker Kitchen. And when he walked out with his apron on, and he went to this table of my Pulpwood Queens, he goes, in that beautiful South Carolina, you know, gentlemanly voice, he goes, would you ladies like some sweet tea or some unsweet? And they just go, is that who I think it is? And I took a picture, and the looks on their face were just like, and he laughed and laughed and laughed about it. And so Fanny Flagg, I've had all kinds of people come, and John Barrett, and we have Adriana Trigiani coming in 2022.
She's great. I've been to conferences with her. She's so much fun.
I have been trying to get her since my first book came out, because we were on the same panel. I was on this panel. I was a brand new author. I was on this panel with her and Debbie Muckromber and oh my gosh, what is the big British thriller writer?
Louise Penny? No.
No. It's a guy. I'll think of it here in a minute. And it was Adriana and me. And these people are all seasoned professionals, and I'm a brand new newbie memoir writer. And my publisher, which was Grand Central, said to me, Jamie Robb came up to me, who's the, the publisher. She said, Kathy, you really held your own. And I said, I was scared to death, but I just wasn't good. But I've been trying to get her to come, and I just put her on my film club because Big Stone Gap was made into a movie with Ashley Judd and with one of my pulpwood queens, who is an actress, was in it. So I was talking to Mary Dees Hampton, who was in the movie, and she said, do you want me to see if I can get Adri on your Pulpwood Queen Film Club? And I said, yeah. I found out, this is why I love doing these, I found out, had no idea, that she was a television writer that got, and now is a film producer and director. She directed Big Stone Gap with Ashley Judd and Whoopi Goldberg and all these amazing people. And I had no idea. In fact, I was just talking to a California author. Her name's Linda Zinberg. And I said, Linda goes, well, she goes, we live in Los Angeles. You don't know what my husband does, do you? And I go, I have no idea. I just pick books on the book's merit. And I really don't know, but I've had people come and say, oh, I'm a reporter at the New York Times or the Washington Post or the Los Angeles Times. I go, you've got to be kidding me. But it's like, oh my God, I can't believe I asked them to come and here they are. But she says, my husband is the producer, television producer, Michael Zinberg. And we do NCSI New Orleans and Quantum Leap and all that. I go, are you kidding me? And she was telling me all the series and things he'd done, and I go, I had no idea. And she goes, and I'm a decorator. I go, well, I would love to talk about that because I love to decorate, but I never really know until I really get these in-depth conversations like I'm having with you, what people do. Like, I mean, the Women's National Book Council, and here you're the secretary of the big one.
National Women's National Book Association.
That's
the recording secretary.
Who's the president?
The president is now Natalie Obondo.
Don't know.
She's out of LA. Natalie is a marketing person.
Yeah, I used to know all those people when I was back in my book selling days and bookstore days. But, the minute I closed my bookstore, publishers quit sending me anything. And I think, are you crazy? If I pick your author's book, 800 chapters across the country are going to read it. Well, just recently, they've all started calling me. Can you help us promote this author's book? And I go, oh, hello. Now, I have to say, I have to give credit to Simon & Schuster, because every single year, Simon & Schuster sends me galleys to give away at the weekend. And they have for over a decade. And Random House has too, and some other small publishers. But most of the time I hear about the authors like this, word of mouth.
Well, you're in Texas. My publisher, I'm with a small press in Texas. I don't know exactly where they are. It's Black Rose Writing.
I don't know where that is. Probably Austin, I would guess.
No, I think they're closer to the Dallas area.
Really? Well, there's a lot of small publishers. I mean, I'm working for one now myself. So there's a lot of small ones out there, but ours is really different because when we publish an author's book, we do it from start to finish. We do, we do charge if you haven't got it formatted or whatever. We'll help you get a cover, but we give you 90% of the profits and we only take 10. That's big. Yes. And that's why I've got a lot of people signing up for it, because there's a little money you have to put up front because you have to pay for the cover or the formatting, which is nominal. And then some people pay for us to do a more extensive publicity tour because we're like publicists, but we also pitch the books to film. And what about the editing? We have everybody in-house doing all that stuff. And most of the authors I'm dealing with right now, the books come to us pretty clean because they try to get it as clean as they can. And most publishers are requiring that you hire an outside editor before you even send it in anyway. And that's the big guys too. So I just pick the books, but Echo has the team of people that do all this stuff, and And but so far it's been a lot of fun. And so basically I'm publishing the books, and then they automatically get to be made Pulpwood Queen Book Club selections, because by God, if I'm publishing them,
If you're, that's right.
I had somebody
Right.
say to me, they said, an author said, I'm sending you, I want to send you my book. And I said, well, read my submission guidelines on my website, because I require that you join my book club if you want to read your book first. And I said, it states you don't have to pay to join the book club. You can send it, but I'm going to read my book club members first, because they're supporting my program, and I think that's my livelihood. I think it's only fair. But I'm not charging to read the book. I got over 600 books this year, and
That's impossible.
I know. Well,
crazy.
I've got 3 stacks. I've got a stack by the door of ones that I'm going to put in little free libraries and donate to the University of Texas Library. Then I've got a stack over here of ones that I've read that are being picked. And then I've got another huge stack that are ones that I'm reading. And
are you the only reader for those 600? I mean, I'm one of 3 for the over 200. Thank goodness I have 2 others reading with me.
Well, let me tell you, a lot of the books I get never make it past the first chapter.
Some of them,
I usually try to read other parts of the book just to make sure that I was absolutely right that it stunk.
Yeah, but when you've read, like I try to read to 100 pages, and sometimes I just don't want to put it down.
Well,
and then there's a pile waiting for me.
I get calls every day. Have you read my book here? I sent it to you last week, and I go, listen, December 1st, I'm going to announce my 2021 books. And it's a pretty big list, because I've got the 12 books for regular book club, 12 international book clubs, and I really want people to read them. I've got Jay Shetty's new book, Think Like a Monk, which is, they just sent me 250 copies to give out to my leaders of my Pulpwood Queen chapters. I love him so much. He's so inspiring, and he's going to change the world. And then, of course, my books with Lucid House Publishing are going to be books of the month. And so, that limits how many I can pick. But if I've picked you before, and I usually make you a bonus book club, because once you're a Pulpwood Queen author, I'm not going to say, oh, look at your next book and see. No, I believe in supporting authors' body of work. I mean, when you look at Pat Conroy's first book that he wrote, The Boo, compared to the last book that he wrote, the path that he took, you could see how much he grew as a writer. And I think it's important to know that we don't always start out, but most of the books that are being published today are who had the most money. And that's the fact. The big books are who's paying for it. So I think somebody's got to be out there reading authors' books that's reading it for just a great story.
Yeah, well, that's what we do with Great Group Reads. Do you have, like, if I were to send you the book that's been out since March, is that too late past your? I mean, I'd love you to read it anyway.
I have a philosophy.
I'm not looking for the publisher, just for that, your book would.
I'll tell you why. I have this philosophy that my favorite book ever is To Kill a Mockingbird. And I think if it got published today, would have gotten published, because they would have said it was politically incorrect. It was derogatory to African Americans, whatever. I go, you can't change history. And that spoke of that time of civil unrest in the South. And I think it's an important book, as Gone with the Wind. And you will find that I do not censor books at all. Some of my books will have language, only if it lends to the story. But the majority of my books, it's about, if they've got a story that I just can't put down, by God, I'm going to make it a Pulpwood Queen pick. And I can't tell you how many nights I don't get any sleep because I get on a book. And I don't know if you've read, and I know we're getting out of time, I don't know if you've read his name is Yuval Harari, who wrote
No,
Homo Deus.
no, I don't know that book.
It's a nonfiction book. It's the brief history of humankind, humans. And then I bought the box set, so I bought the next one too. And I bought it because I fell down. I watched everything. I'm a film buff too. I'm just one of these people that when I get into something, I get into it. I watched everything on Netflix, so I turned to foreign films, and I fell down the rabbit hole of watching Bollywood, Indian films.
Yeah.
And then I discovered Sharon Cohn, who's the biggest actor in the world, and I never heard of him. And I'm going, I'm the biggest film buff in the world.
No.
Who is this guy? The man is brilliant, and I saw him on Think or TED Talk or Yale or one of these talks, and they asked him, what was he reading? If you want to know what somebody's really like, look at their library. I mean, I really believe this, you know, and
I agree with you.
You can tell right away if somebody's putting it up there for show, or they've got the Reader's Digest condensed books, or, you know, but.
Or if they have them covered in like wallpaper that they all meet and match the walls. Yeah.
Mine started out being organized by author, because when I go,
forget it.
That's the best way. But then I pull things out and put them back. It's just a nightmare.
Yeah.
But Shah Rukh Khan mentioned that he just read these books, and I think he's brilliant. So I thought, well, if he's brilliant, I'm going to read it. I could not put these books down. And besides being a art major, I actually have another major in geology, in science. And I've taken anthropology, I've taken every kind of geography, geology, you know, but I had never heard about these different humans that he identified in this book. And he gives you the big picture. You know how they'll do the big picture of the Bible or the big picture of history. The guy's like Stephen Hawkins, man. He can figure it. He's brilliant, and I watch all of his talks. He's everywhere. He teaches at Oxford University. Okay. He's from Jerusalem, and he's just a brilliant guy. And I really, you know, so I'm going to ask you, what do you like to read? What's your favorite author or body of work?
Oh my gosh, I've been reading. Well, my favorite author, that's really hard to pick. But yeah. I'll give you a bunch. I mean, Barbara Kingsolver is one of my favorites.
Oh my gosh, The Poison Bible is
one of my favorites. I just love Kristen Harmel's books. Fiona Davis, which I'm listening to right now. I love The Lions of Fifth Avenue.
I haven't read her.
Oh, I love her historical fiction, and they're set in New York. They're wonderful.
Oh, good.
Marilyn Robinson's another one, and she just came out with her book. But I got a great Pat Conroy story for you.
Okay. We'll end with this, everybody. I'm sorry that Breathless Wine wasn't here, but rescheduled. But I'm excited about meeting this author. So we're going to end with my favorite author of all time, a Pat Conroy story.
Pat Conroy. Okay, so I was sitting at my kitchen table reading A Prince of Tides, and I come to a sentence that actually has my brother-in-law's name in it. This was a long time ago.
Yeah, I remember.
And I just like stopped and I said, how could that be? And it was in the scene where, I don't even remember all the characters' names, but the character was in his sister's apartment and going through her things. And he finds her autograph book from junior high school, from Cethlo Junior High School in Brooklyn. And my brother-in-law was the president of the class, and his name is in that book. Well, I'm in New Jersey, he's in California. I immediately call him and ask him if he knows Pat Conroy. He said no. And we start looking. He said, who's the book dedicated to? Well, it was his wife. And that was, honestly, I don't remember her name. If it's the same wife, I don't know. But he was a classmate of the wife. And when he contacted her, long story short, Pat Conroy actually went and took her yearbook or autograph book or whatever it was at the time and found my brother-in-law's name.
Is it unusual?
No, Sidney Rosen. But he just used it in the story. And I was sitting there reading the book, and I almost fell off my chair.
Well, do you know how many Kathy L. Murphys there are?
Yeah, but this was because it was Sidney Rosen who was president of the Seth Low Junior High School class. Otherwise, I would have pushed it aside. But that's who he was.
Isn't that cool? That's really
So
kind of cool.
Pat Conroy is one of my favorite authors anyways. He was
He
phenomenal. He was
definitely, and
phenomenal.
his wife, Cassandra King, I have picked her books more than any author ever. I think
Yeah.
6 or 7. And if you have not read Tell Me a Story, Tell Me a Story, the story of her and Pat's marriage.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it is so good.
Okay, my
She is a
TBR pile is
wonderful
toppling
writer.
over.
Cassandra King Conroy, and she
Okay.
is fabulous writer. She's from Alabama, and she was a pretty well-known author there before she met Pat, but they met
Well,
at a
this was,
library
yeah.
conference.
Then
Yeah.
this was a previous wife because the wife
Well,
that was in the book was from New York.
I think he's been married 4 times.
Well, that's okay. It was
And
okay.
because Melissa is from his wife Barbara, my friend Melissa's mother's from, she's an attorney in Atlanta. But anyway, yeah, but he's an incredible author and one of my favorites. But I'm like you, I put the top 15 authors and it changes every day. I mean,
It's hard. And then I'm reading somebody and I love their work. And
have you read Marilyn Simon Rothstein's books, Lift and Separate?
No, I
Oh
don't
my
know
God. You've got to read Marilyn. Marilyn is my new best friend because it's the books to read during COVID because you will laugh your head off. And her posts on my page, she's always putting pictures of George Clooney as her boyfriend.
Uh-huh.
She started out as a magazine writer and worked for 17 magazine and back in the day. And then it really was later in life that she started writing books. And I'm finding that my favorite authors are those ones that don't even start until after their careers at this other thing where
I started at 60.
Well, good. See, there you
Yeah.
go. And here I'm 64 and I'm just now going to be finishing up my second. The Pulpit Queen Celebrate is an anthology, so I only wrote the introduction. The first book I wrote in 2008 because I'm promoting authors and books, and people want to know the story. They go, how did you get on Oprah Winfrey and Good Morning America and get featured 3 pages in the Los Angeles Times and Newsweek Time, Wall Street Journal in like the first 2 years I was open? And I go, I don't know. I know everybody thinks I'm a brilliant marketing person, but I just know that when I get into something, just like children's books, whatever I'm into, I jump in with both feet and I give it my all. I mean, I was the person that was like student council representative for my class and student council representative for pep club. And I was in every organization in school. I'm in Rotary, I've been in Rotary International until the chapter closed here. But I'm a team player. Right. And I think that's why my book club has done very well. I'm very eccentric. I mean, I don't know if you can see it, but my hair is a little blue. It was forest green during Girlfriend Weekend, but it's gone, silver from, but I'm an artist and I dress really different. And I was growing up in Eureka, Kansas, in a town that was cattle and oil. I stood out because, most people wore Western wear. My grandparents had a Western store and a farm outside of town. It's a small rural Kansas town, but I would wear a leopard beret to school with, purple knee socks and see-through go-go boots. And I remember my teachers their eyes would always go up when I'd entered because they go, oh my, Kathy, what have we got on today? But I play dress up, and I still like to play dress up. So when I do my Pulpit Queen Film Club and I do some of I dress in, I just did, I do book reviews too. And Carolyn Leavitt wrote a book about a young woman who's married, or not married, but who's in a relationship, long-term relationship with a guy who was a rock star early, and then he's aging, and then he's now got another big chance. So I did the review as a rock star. And my kids go, Mom, no, Mom, were you trying to emulate Kiss? And I said, no, I was just trying to look edgy. And they go, no, don't do that anymore. It's okay to do the kids' story time and dress as a fairy or a deer or whatever, but no, don't do that anymore. But, you know, I've found that most people want to be entertained. So
Absolutely.
So that's why when I would do my—
We got to entertain ourselves too.
Yes, when I do my story times, I would dress up. I was known as the hat lady when I was back in my children's book selling days, and I always wore these outrageous hats. Now I wear crowns, and but I know I need to end this because she's not here, and I'm sorry.
She's not here, but we'll go get our own wine, and I am going to friend you on Facebook. I'll friend you from Linda Leibowitz Rosen, but my Facebook page is Linda Rosen Author.
Okay, and we'll get it going.
And yeah, this was great, Kathy. I loved it.
You know what? I have this amazing, I think, thing that things happen for a reason. So maybe this just didn't connect tonight because I was supposed to meet you.
Well, maybe so. Maybe so. Okay.
Well, it's nice to meet you.
But I am going to get in touch with you.
New friend Linda. So bye from Texas. Thanks. Bye from New Jersey. We'll get you connected to Kim Harwanto, who is my, she's coming up October 28th on, I'm doing an interview with her. So be watching it on my Facebook page, and just go to the Pulpit Queens. Everything usually gets put on my website and on my Kathy L. Murphy Facebook page. So
okay, great.
Okay, nice to meet you.
See you
Bye,
there.
everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.